Three guys 5 feet apart.
Alrighty, now that all the technical issues are figured out, welcome to episode 32 of Three Guys 5 Feet Apart. Joining me today are my good friends.
I'm your boy Alex.
Jonah.
And we have a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm Peony. I'm Peony Felicity. I am a cosplayer and an erotic cosplay artist, and I'm really excited to be here. It's my second time, and these guys are great. You're going to love this episode.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We want to start by saying you have exploded in popularity since our last episode. You have vastly, you went from I think you had 300 followers when we first recorded, and now you're in the thousands. So we'd like to take full credit for that. That was 100% us.
Yes,
and
you absolutely should take
after
full
we're
credit.
done recording, we can work out how we're going to divide up the money. We do have questions. We do want to start. I was told last time that I talked too much, so I'm going to try to hold back a little bit this episode and let my co-host do the talking.
We like it when you talk.
Well, some people decided I talked too much last time we had Peony on. I was simping a little too hard, you said. So
Simping a little too hard? Wow, did they give you notes? Did they sit you down with a little notebook and give you feedback?
They did. They sat me down. I said, Michael, you were exposed the entire episode. We can't. I don't want to sit next to you like that. We need to bring it back and focus more on the podcast. And you talked too much. You were simping too hard.
I did have an idea that we should tell people that we do it naked and then film ourselves one time and I don't know.
What are you saying? You want to film us naked, dude?
No, but we should have a joke where people think we're naked while we film, but they would never know because they don't see us.
Why do you keep saying film? We don't film. We record.
You know what I mean.
Okay, let's start with questions. Instead of Peony listening to us talk about being naked.
Yeah, sorry.
Alex.
I assume that all of you are nudists at all times. I assume that you're a small nudist colony running a podcast to support yourselves. Buy extra sunscreen and stuff. Very important.
Dicks out for Harambe.
That's the hope.
Dicks out, exactly.
Just skip question one.
So, I've heard that you are going to be doing a Shock T cosplay.
Yeah! Who told you?
I did.
The only person that talks to you that I know, Mr. Michael himself. But so how's that been going? Have you run into any troubles with that, or has it been going pretty smoothly?
Oh my good God. Okay, so my controversial Star Wars opinion, and I'm sure someone will wait for me outside of my apartment to beat me up after I say this, is that I like Shakti better than Ahsoka, just out of the two of the character design for that race, because Shakti has way cooler.
While you said that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. I might be the person outside your apartment.
Don't say that on the podcast. We're now criminally liable.
I can actually see outside my window. There's a naked man just glaring at me, winking. It's you. I knew it. Yeah, that's my favorite. Is just she has this amazing Leku going on. They're so much longer and taller, and the designs are more intricate. So because I apparently have a death wish and I love suffering, I chose that character.
Okay.
So I made the initial Leku structure out of vinyl, which I stocked at Fabricland for weeks so that it would go on sale and I could afford it. They're getting real tired of seeing my ass weekly. I'd be like, Linda, is it on sale? And she'd be like, why are you even here? This place is for old women. Aren't you some sort of whore? Can you leave our Fabricland?
Do and eventually it did go on sale. Judge you? Are they?
Yeah, they're always
they're buying fabric to make onesies for their grandkids, and you're just yeah, I'm buying this so I can show my boobs on the internet.
Yeah, I'm well, I'm actually making erotic cosplay, and they look at me like they wish they were dead and that I was also dead. And it's fair. I mean, if I was 80 and working at my nice little hobby store, and some strange cosplayer was like, I am going to become a sexy alien, I might disintegrate. So, props to them for keeping it cool.
You should hand out cards and give it to them. Tell your grandkids.
Yeah. I I always say the last thing that they want to hear when they ask me what I'm making with this strange material I'm purchasing. But here I am at home, with scissors and a dream, and I, drew the structure, made the structure, stuffed it with teddy bear stuffing, actually, like stuffed animal stuffing, so it would be squishy and move. And that all went pretty smoothly, aside from, stabbing yourself 800 times with pins. But the real kicker is the paint. I did my due research. I sanded the piece. Everything was all good. I took it for a test run, and there were little blue paint chips trailing behind me. Like I was some sort of fabulous slug. It was horrible. So after a lot of vacuuming, I'm re-sanding the piece and doing, my 8th paint test on it. So that's what I'm going to be doing after this. I'll let you know how that goes. It's just going to be me with spray paint on my balcony. We've established that my neighbors do not love living next to me, and this will not help my case. That's how that's going. I'm working on the design for her garment from the Force Unleashed, because that's where I really fell in love with that character. Because you don't really get to know a lot of her in the media series.
Yeah, Alex, the Force Unleashed. She was one of the surviving Jedi in that game that Vader had to fight, and she wears a kind of almost like a animal leather bikini, and that's where a lot of Shakti simps kind of came into the picture, because instead of in the full Jedi robes, all of a sudden she's exposing 90% of her skin, and she's a badass. So it's
totally.
See, if I had
and she's a badass, and she has a bunch of dope scars.
My Shakti respect came from the original Clone Wars animated movies.
Oh yeah.
The Samurai Jack style one. She and all those other Jedi that took on Grievous. It was that was epic, and I loved that. And I was like, she's kind of a badass. She's kind of cool. Alex just Googled her. Force Unleashed.
Yeah, I was obsessed. I just loved that she was a mature, established Jedi, because the way that we kind of are introduced to Ahsoka is she's a baby, and she's a baby for most of the series. So I liked that Shakti was already a whole Jedi, which was extremely dope. Also, my grievance with Star Wars costuming is I just want equality. Where's my shirtless Obi-Wan scene? Why do we get Shakti in literally some sort of animal leather bikini, but all of the other Jedis are fully clothed? What's going on with that?
Listen.
I think we should have more.
All I'm gonna say is, in the comics, there's plenty of male Jedi. Kit Fisto is he's the number one offender. He takes off his shirt every chance he gets.
You know what? I didn't realize how many people wanted to bone Kit Fisto. I didn't know. I have been educated.
Kit Fisto, freaking, and he got with the blue Twilight Jedi. I forget her name.
Yeah, Ava.
Yeah, he got with her, because that was the weird thing about the Jedi, was you couldn't fall in love. They didn't care if the Jedi all boned each other.
It's different.
Yeah, they were you
but
can't
no kissing on the mouth.
Yeah, they were you can't have any emotional connections, but you can just bang whoever you want. I mean,
literally, they're we don't kiss on the mouth, but we're all boning, and I'm okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And some of
you know what?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm working on Kit Fisto's race. You don't see a lot of them around, and I am so afraid to pronounce the name of it wrong. But I am designing a headpiece for that, specifically in red, because I got a lot of requests for red Twi'leks, but I don't know. I've been empowered by being able to make Shakti's headpiece out of vinyl. So, we'll see how that goes.
That's what I was going to suggest. There's that red Sith Twi'lek Jedi. Not Jedi. Darth Talon. Yeah. And I'm surprised.
Yeah, Darth Talon.
I'm surprised you haven't tackled that one yet, because she has canonically worn very little clothing the entire time, and got all the cool, tattoos and stuff.
Yeah, I think the reason why I haven't particularly gone for her is most of the time I don't do a lot of Sith user cosplay or dark side user cosplay, but I feel I should branch out. I feel I'm running out of really niche characters that have 6 seconds of screen time to cosplay. Maybe I should, look around.
just don't shave and do a Chewbacca cosplay, like a sexy Chewbacca.
You know what? That's true. I really appreciate that you believe in my capacity to grow that much body hair. I feel very seen. Wow, thank you.
Jonah, ask a question off of my pre-made list of questions.
Why? Why you have to phrase it like that?
Okay, then ask a question you made up.
How you just made it weird.
Yeah, on the spot now. So see what happens when you question me?
It was
see what I do to you?
Naturally. Yeah.
No, this is good. Fight some more. I think I should take bets on who's going to win.
When choosing a cosplay, like, do you go, I don't know, you go for characters that you like, or is it more on request? Like, which one do you do more? That's
a really great question. I think it's way more so what I like, because I think if I was taking it exclusively off request, I would have done Ahsoka a long time ago. Usually, because this all started, when I was small and watched Return of the Jedi on Luke, and it rotted my brain.
And you were like, someday I'm going to have boobs so big that people will pay for pictures of me dressed as these characters.
Yeah, who'd have thought? Really, what I didn't think would happen, but here we are in the world. And seeing Ula and her character design, and being like, wow, do I want to be with this woman, or do I want to be that character? And I think I just kind of started to get really obsessed with the small alien lore that Star Wars gives us every now and again. Like Anna and Tangela were on like Tatooine, and they're on for 6 seconds. They're the blue Twi'lek twins who are around the pod races, and I was also obsessed with them. I drew sketches of them as kids, and so being an adult and having some basic creation skills, it feels really good to bring those characters to life outside of a screen in a way that's tangible for me. It's so satisfying, and part of it is yes, it's fun to be sexy, but a huge part of it is, wow, I can't believe that other people are also just as excited about exploring these characters as I am, and I can afford to buy a comical amount of vinyl from Fabricland because other people also want to see me bring this character to life.
It's the way you describe making the Leku for your Shakti cosplay. It's so interesting because it almost sounds like you're designing props for the movies. Like, I'm so sure that is probably like the exact same thought process. I mean, because I know when they talk about making props, there's always like, we make one that looks really good for still shots or for photography, but you described it as, I need to make sure that they can move around and stuff. And they would make versions that don't look as good, but that are made to move around. And so you could probably just like go ahead and go and start doing like costumes for movies with the amount of knowledge you have now.
That is such an amazing compliment, because I'm definitely breaking a lot of sewing and creation laws, but I'm starting to realize that a lot of prop builders literally are just doing whatever they can get away with to make the thing work.
Yeah.
That's really encouraging. Yeah, I started with prop and cosplay design when and I still work in burlesque, but I used to direct and produce burlesque. And now I'm just a solo performer, so I would make costuming and props for other performers. And it's cool to be able to translate that into my cosplay build, so I can translate that sensuality that I'm trained in, and then mix it with a bunch of nerd shit. That feels pretty great. And I've been doing a lot of combining like 20s burlesque style with some Twi'lek designs, which is really fun, because they're always, seen as entertainers.
Yeah, like that it's cool because it does really function well with like their in-universe lore of the Twi'lek sort of being that like desired race that's like, we'll just be friends with everyone.
There's a new one, Amanda or Boba Fett, that they just introduced.
Yeah,
pretty great.
I mean, from a young age, I was always drawn towards women of different shades, different colors, tentacles for hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's why nerds are so cool with like diversity, because it's like the world's struggling with different like shades of brown. Meanwhile, we're like, I'll take someone blue or green or pink or red. They're all fine by me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I really appreciate in the nerd community, in the non-toxic side, because we all know there is the toxic side, is that people are really open-minded. There's so much overlap in the nerd community with kink and with diversity and with exploration, and like everybody seems to have something else that like grows in tandem with it, and I love that. I think it's so interesting.
Yeah, Alex, what's your question? I'm just gonna throw you guys on the spot if you don't jump in.
I mean, if we're talking about positivity right now,
let's talk about positivity.
And
let's talk about positivity.
the bad and good sides of what you do. How do you deal with like body positivity and just being confident, even when there's haters and what do you call them?
Mean people.
Mean people?
No, you have words. What's like another word? Like simps and then there's
simps
like,
and incels.
Incels, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. Some days it's not easy. Some days, and of course, you never want to let anybody know that it gets to you. But some days you throw your phone across the room and you curl up and you cry for a couple hours. Not every day is like that, of course.
Yeah.
A lot of it is making sure that you're putting your content in places where you know it's gonna go well. And a lot of that is experimentation, and I try to remove myself a little bit from it, where it's just data, where I'm like, okay, so this didn't go over well in this sub, maybe these just aren't my people. Rather than being like, I'm garbage, and this strange man on the internet is an authority on what value is, because that's ridiculous.
That strange man is Jonah.
Yeah, that's probably.
Strange man. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of what's helpful is exposing those people, so screenshotting it and posting it on other platforms.
I was gonna ask about that.
I think I've really started to cope with it by
doing that.
What do you keep people?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Yeah, like you don't want people screenshotting it and like selling it for themselves or.
Oh, he means on your only. I don't know if YouTube will let us say this OnlyFans account.
Yeah.
What are the systems in place to prevent people from just like screenshotting it or saving it?
Yeah. I mean, well, you know what? Of course, if you put anything on the internet, it's a risk.
Yeah.
But often people come to OnlyFans because they want to support you. And they want to have a personal connection with an artist or a creator or an actor. And so the biggest incentive is just like, I paid for this. Why would I give it to somebody else for free? And also on OnlyFans, you can't download anything. So you could screenshot it, but it's watermarked as OnlyFans.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah, and OnlyFans themselves, if it was easy for people to do that, they wouldn't exist as a company, so they have some safeguards against that, and it is, of course, illegal, right? That's stolen content, so you could prosecute somebody, and most websites are good at taking that down.
Yeah, like, I guess it's kind of like pirating a movie.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I'm, like, a pretty small creator comparatively, like, calm down, everybody. But what does happen a lot is I'll post like pieces of cosplays or builds or teasers or gifts that I make, like of fun, spicy things. And people will take those gifts and repost them on like porn sites, which is really funny because it's like hardcore porn, and then I'm like me as a Twi'lek with like some flavage in the middle, and I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. But it's really funny because they credit me, so it is kind of like free advertising, even if it's weird. But I get a couple DMs, like I'm going to say weekly, of people being like, oh my god, your content's leaked. And I'm like, let me see. And it's just stuff that I've posted for free that somebody else has shared to a different website. And I'm like, this is not a leak. This is actually, like, fine. So that happens a lot. But I don't know. Like, I'm not really bothered by that. That's just how it is. It's just tricks of the trade and all that.
Like, with people posting small clips of you in porn videos, do people mistake you as a porn star? Like, is
what's your rank on Pornhub?
That's a good question. Yeah. People have asked me, are there like, where are your Pornhub videos? And I'm like, they don't exist. And if I am on Pornhub, it's somebody like posting me like, you know, a slowed down GIF of me like running, you know, like Baywatch energy. And somebody is like, literally, if somebody is jacking off to that, like, God bless them. What? Hello, how are they functioning in society? But for the most part, I'm not particularly bothered by that. You know, when I'm not doing this, I work as a social worker. You know, that's my background. And I work as a sex work advocate where I'm, you know, working to destigmatize that idea. And, you know, what I'm doing is definitely a form of sex work. You know, people who work as cam girls, who work as burlesque dancers, who work as exotic dancers, people who work in sex toy stores are all sex workers. And so just kind of like not being embarrassed by that, because people really do be trying to embarrass you. And I'm like, girl, I chose to do this. Why would this upset me?
So that's kind of, I've always just been curious, like, how you gotten yourself to that point, like, because it is out there forever.
What's your origin story?
And you don't know who could see it, whether that's family, friends, whatever. And it's just, there's a lot of risk, and you have to have a lot of confidence, but, like, I feel like it just takes a certain kind of mindset to be able to put yourself out there like that. And
See, Alex is working on setting up his OnlyFans, but he's just too afraid to post anything.
No. Not at all.
Yeah, and you know what? The thing is that you have to remember that the internet is a void, and that everyone is posting on it, and that you are one of a billion people posting spicy things, posting cosplays. And that's both good and bad, of course, because it's hard to, like, make a little corner for yourself, but also in the sense that this isn't so much something that's taboo as it was before. And also, I don't know if I would feel comfortable associating with somebody who I felt like had an issue with me doing, like, erotic content. I don't know if I could be friends with them. I think that would be a real barrier for me, where I was like, are you so stuck in the past that I have an issue with somebody choosing to do this with their time?
Yeah.
You know, like, what are you doing to make money? How are you supporting yourself? How are you filing your taxes? What do you do as a creative and sexual outlet? How are you healthy? When did you go to therapy last? You know?
Right.
I want to make sure that the people around me are able to function in that reality.
And you don't have to answer this, but, like, does your family know, or have you had conversations with them? Like, have you had any confrontations with that?
Oh, you're really getting into the juice of it. That's not something. Yeah.
Deep, bro.
So all my siblings know, and I think most of my extended family know that I do some form of, like, erotic arts. I talk to them a lot about my burlesque, because that's mostly what I'm passionate about. And I talk to them a lot about my cosplay. And I guess the other side is it's just, you know, the rest is kind of none of their business. And of course, I come from a very Catholic, straight, white family, you know, which is strange because I'm fruity and I'm white, but yeah.
I feel like every person I met that has, like, ever said they are from a Catholic family are always go, like, so far away from it. Like, I've seen people, like, that are super goth looking with piercings all over, like, yeah, I grew up Catholic. That's just like, or like, like people that work on OnlyFans are like, yeah, I came from, like, a Catholic household, super conservative and stuff. And it's just like, do you think it, like, it made it more of, like, a treat for you to do, like, hey, this is extra bad now?
It was extra salacious to explore that. You know, that's a really good question. I would say that I think what it did give me was a lot of religious trauma, because in Catholicism, you know, sex is very bad. Kink is even worse.
They do it through the sheet, right?
Any kind of gay on top of that, like, you might as well set yourself on fire so the church does not have to do it for you. So when I was first getting into kind of this field of work, and it's, for the first part, I very much treated it like a hobby, like a side job, so I could pursue cosplay passions and creation projects. It was just kind of like something on the side that allowed me to make better art and cooler stuff. But I really had to get over what everybody told me was okay and what wasn't okay. I really had to renegotiate with myself autonomy and body autonomy and sexual autonomy and who gets to decide what is okay for me to wear and say and think and do. So I would say that it probably created some barriers to feeling healthy and being okay for a little bit. So, if you're thinking of enrolling your kids in Catholic school, this is how I turned out.
So you're saying that we shouldn't take all of our religious advice from a man in Italy driving a little bubble car?
He also has red shoes, I hear.
Really?
And I have questions about that if you're pairing it with a white outfit.
That is odd.
Allegedly the Pope requested that people stop calling his transport the Pope Mobile, but it never changed.
What else?
Yeah, no, everyone was like, straight up, what else are we supposed to call it?
I would personally lean more into it if I was the Pope. I would take one of the Batman vehicles and customize it. You paint it all white, but instead of a bat, it's got the little Pope hat on the front.
Yeah.
And the Pope drives.
You could have
really
a little bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Exactly. The Pope is really missing out on capitalizing on the comedy of that vehicle. Talk about how good that outreach would be.
Exactly. And my opinion is if your people are questioning it, then you need to lean in further into the meme. It means you haven't gone far enough.
Literally true. You have to take the joke farther than the person before you took it.
All right. We do want to cover this. We want to talk about weird DMs. It had to be said.
Oh no.
Before we say that, I will say I'm simping a little bit for your Canadian accent.
I have a Canadian accent?
I'm about to say, I haven't heard. Say about.
It was when you said about a little bit ago, and I was like, oh.
Oh.
I didn't catch it.
That is the cutest thing I've ever heard. Oh.
Say about, Peony. Say about for all the Sims out there.
About? Yeah, about. That. Does it sound?
I think it was more natural when you were just talking. You said about in a sentence not too long ago, and it just kind of happened. But anyways,
it just kind of happened. Like all good romance, it just kind of happened. All right, yeah. I hear ya.
All right, we are going to Jonah and I are going to make some masterpiece theater right now. We're going to reenact a lovely DM. Okay, so I shall be playing the role of Messenger, and Jonah shall be playing the role of the lovely Peony. And Jonah can do it. He does not have the bazongas, but he's got a can-do attitude, and he's going to get it done.
Remember, nobody can see.
I imagine him with balloons in his shirt and a pink wig, sitting there really uncomfortably.
Get into character, Jonah.
Wait, is he Peony?
He's Peony.
I'm
okay.
Peony now.
Yeah, you have to channel.
No, wait. Alex, finish your sentence. Pretend you have luscious.
No, I have what? Alex.
All right.
Hair.
All right. I'll begin. Hey.
Hey, what brings you to the DMs?
Can I please see your feet?
Not for free.
That was beautiful. Beautiful. Golf clap all around.
Oh, yeah. Super great. Wow, the guy went straight for the feet. Didn't even...
He went straight for the feet.
Nothing else
You know the best part? It was the blankest profile. Local man, absolute anonymous avatar is can I see your feet?
I don't understand the whole feet thing.
In terms of fetishes, feet is pretty tame. So, the feet people, they're usually pretty nice, but every now and again you'll get a weird.
It's kind of nice, though, making money off just selling pictures of your feet.
I wish I could sell pictures of my feet.
You could, Jonah. You shave them, you get some lotion on them, make them look really nice. No one has to know they're man's feet.
No, my feet are too
big. You have to essentially rub the lotion in, though, and moan while you do it, even though there's nothing sexual happening.
This is what you do. You get a bunch of other big items and then put them next to your feet so they look smaller by comparison.
So they look small and dainty. Genius.
Yeah, you could do it, dude.
Absolutely genius.
Well, let's do one more, Jonah. Your acting chops are going to be put to the test on this one. Once again, you are Peony. They are really your boobs?
Yeah, nice to meet you. You have no idea how many times I've been asked of they're fake, but no, homegrown.
But it's really nice. Just read out the punctuation.
I have to read out the punctuation.
Just a question. Yeah.
Question mark.
I ask you because here I never saw like them.
If you're curious, my OnlyFans link is in my bio.
How do you have the patience for people like that? Because I bet you get them like all the time.
I literally had no idea how to respond. Like, was I supposed to say, girl, like, who else's would they be?
Yeah.
Did I steal these breasts from some poor, unsuspecting, like, what, German milkmaid? What happened?
I couldn't deal with it.
I was like, I'm sorry, Helga, I didn't burn you. Like, nine! Like, what? How do I answer that?
I just think it's so crazy. Like, no one asks if like any body parts really yours. Like, I've never posted a photo on Instagram where someone's like, "Is that really like your drawing?" It's like, no, I'm just stealing other people's art. What do you think?
Could you imagine if I was like, "Is that really your dick?" Like, as if you could have stolen someone else's.
That is,
Or Photoshop. Like,
I tried sending a girl a dick pic one time, and she was like, "That's not yours," and I'm just like, "Of course it is. I'm just really like blessed." And she's like, "It's black." I'm just like, "Damn it!" I didn't think about that part.
Can you like?
and you're like, actually, it's just the lighting.
Ball implants.
Can you get ball implants? I think so. Yeah.
Make your balls big.
Oh.
I think they have to take out the
Okay,
ones that are
but-
already in there, though.
Oh.
Who was like sitting there and he's like, you know what would really improve my life is if I had fat nuts. I think I should just have fat nuts.
There has to be
what?
somebody out there.
They're probably
They're not fat nuts.
There's like those guys that get like really obsessed with like their biceps and they inject oil into them. So I'm assuming there's probably guys that are like really obsessed with their nuts and inject oil into that.
Wow. Amazing. Literally amazing. Every day I learn something new about the human psyche.
It's really odd. It's like these Russian bodybuilders that like get fixated on one part of their body and they just keep injecting it with this like, it's essentially what they put in like butt implants where it's like a mix of like silicone and oil and whatever.
Really bad for you.
There's one guy that had like, that got really obsessed with his biceps. He kept injecting and eventually like they exploded. And he said after they exploded and they removed all the dead tissue and stuff, he said he's going to start again because now they're like back to normal size.
What an idiot!
He's going to die. He's just going to die. Like there's no way to sugarcoat it.
Like,
oh my god, that guy needs therapy.
And to
again. That sounds like a severe case of body dysmorphia. It sounds like that guy is really struggling with his like physical existence. That sucks.
I always thought that I had like some form because like when I was younger I was really short and then I grew up and I got taller than everyone. But like for some odd reason, as I go through from day to day, I still like view everyone else as like way taller than me. Like if I'm looking at them from the right angle, and it's not till I get like really close to someone do I realize I'm like a head taller than them. And so it's like this weird, like I'm still stuck mentally as like a short little guy.
Huh, we might need to talk about that later.
Yeah. I view the world like you view it, Alex, just in my mind.
I'm not that short, but I am short. How tall are you, Peony? I'm just curious.
Taller than you.
How tall am I? I'm 5'7".
5'7", so Alex is only barely taller than you.
Yeah.
I'm like 5'7" with size 9 feet. I am not a small woman. There is nothing about me that has ever been small.
She's practically an Amazon. Put some heels on you, and you're practically an Amazon.
Oh yeah, I definitely am. I love when I tower over men in heels and they get really nervous. Just good for me.
You should do.
It just feeds me.
I would love that too.
You should do one of those Lady Demetress cosplays and have all like the guys be like, "Step on me."
Yeah. You know what? I actually have it made. I just haven't put it all together because I've been absolutely hypnotized by the desire to finish Shakti.
You have been painting your body essentially every day for like your Twi'lek cosplays.
Yeah, I have. There's a whole week because reading week. Do y'all have reading week in the States?
No, I have no clue what reading week is, so we do not have reading week in the States.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Somebody the other day was like, "Are you like a senior?" And he was from the States, and I was like a senior citizen? No. And he was asking me what year I was in college. Anyways, Reading Week is like a week-long break. It used to be sectionally called Suicide Week. They instated it to lower like the suicide rate of students in university. But it's like a week break in February. So for that whole week, I literally painted myself every day. Like my time off.
Yeah, that's also kind of like I didn't know Canada had that. That should be something cool we have in the States.
Yeah.
You should have that. I'm sure students also kill themselves over there.
No, they actually in America they kill each other. We have like a school shooting every week.
Oh, I see. So like really, you just love the sharing is caring.
I love South Park did this whole like episode about school shootings. And like there was a murder like an ice cream parlor, and they were like, I can't believe there was a school shooting in an ice cream parlor, and they were like, I don't think this is a school shooting, sir. And he's like, of course it is. He's like, I can't believe it. Kids are getting killed outside of school. They're supposed to be safe outside of school. I love the tongue-in-cheek references of South Park, like just the way they approach everything.
They did a great job. And also they wrote the Book of Mormon, the play, not the Holy Book, and it slaps. It's hilarious. So, I also am on that bandwagon.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone have done so many things. They have a successful TV series. They've made multiple entirely different from each other movies. They made Team America, which was just all puppets. And now I didn't even know they wrote the Book of Mormon, so they wrote a play. So they've done everything.
They literally wrote it's like a whole ass musical too. They're really talented. They do.
I've heard of the Book of Mormon, but I didn't know they wrote it. That's insane. That's beautifully insane.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Some people have all the talent. They should divide that up.
Yeah.
I know.
Jonah, don't feel so bad. You're talented. You got a beautiful singing voice. Sing something for Peony so you can hear your beautiful singing voice.
No.
I'm ready.
So go ahead, Jonah.
No.
Sing your favorite song. You were singing to me like just before we started recording.
No, I cannot.
You gotta
sing.
insert something.
I'm gonna insert in the audio like a beautiful like opera sound.
Just put in Celine Dion.
See,
Yeah.
Are you classically trained, or you just sing for a hobby, or what's the tea?
Alright. That's painful.
Shut up, Alex. I have a beautiful voice. I hate you.
Peony, do you have any secret talents that
you can share?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That I'm already not sharing.
I mean, we're open and honest here.
We're open and honest here. Okay, well, I'm a classically trained vocalist. I did musical theater for several years. I know how to do jazz and soul.
You're another one that got all the talent. Screw you guys. There's like these people that like can do everything, and then there's us who just record a podcast.
Listen, a lot of good it's doing me. I still live in like a shitty one-bedroom apartment and go to school full-time, so it's not like I'm like getting anywhere with it.
Alex can play drums. Alex, play some drums for us.
Sure.
Well, I think he needs drums.
Well, a poor craftsman blames his tools, Jonah.
Oh, that's
I don't have any tools.
See, then you're a poor drum player.
Anyways.
Okay. We talked body positivity. We talked weird DMs.
Weird DMs is my favorite. Y'all really did a great job. The Peony accent was peak. It was beautiful.
Another weird talent I have is impressions and accents.
Yeah, you actually are pretty good.
Thank you. What are some difficulties you've run into as a cosplay content creator? Like, in terms of, I know you were just talking about how there's people that sometimes harass you and there's problems with costumes, but like, is there like a day-to-day element of it? Like, I know you were just talking about like going to the craft store and having to explain to all the old ladies that you're gonna like turn this into a revealing outfit to sell to people. But like, is there anything beyond that? Like, you talk about annoying your neighbors. Like, you do a lot of body painting. So do you have like a roommate that's like, why is the bathtub blue or something?
Hey, you know what? My roommates are really used to just coming home and finding me in various shades of body paint, and I'm like holding a sponge being like, can you get this one spot on my back? I just like can't reach it. And they're like, Of course. So, people go out of their way to be really nice to me. I tease that, my neighbors hate me, but I always bring them cookies if I'm annoying or loud for a day because I'm making things. I would say that one of my biggest difficulties is having to constantly pump out creations. Because cosplays take a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of patience. And so there's this expectation that you as a creator have to be just creating stuff and dropping content constantly. And the way that the consumer culture works, if you want to kind of stay relevant or keep your engagement up and pay rent, you have to be fast. So a lot of times I will have a hard time finishing projects. For my example, my shock tea, I turned that out. That wasn't the finished garment. I just did a gorgeous evening gown on her, but that's not the full cosplay. But it's hard for me to not be like, Kate did that. Now I have to make Ahsoka. Now I have to, make Kit Fisto, but as a woman. So it's weird to pace myself. It's almost impossible. And people are always asking what I'm doing next. And I'm like, please, I'm still trying to wash the red paint out of the rug. It has been many moons trying to get out that I am the carpet cleaner. That's a tough spot. And the other one is cleaning up, is keeping a clean environment. I think my kitchen table and my living room is just always covered in sewing machine stuff and paint stuff and, drop cloths. So I'm glad that my roommates are cool with me being like this, and they loved me before this and they'll love me after this. But if I lived with somebody who wasn't having that, it wouldn't be easy.
Alex is out as a potential roommate. Alex is a neat freak.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, not that.
But I totally get that, because as a content creator, I guess I'm also a content creator in another.
Yeah, you are. You're an artist.
So I totally get that, because we have that with the podcast where we're like, oh, we have to meet up this week and we want to hang out and just do something casual, but we also have to record because we got to get a new episode out. Or me when I'm drawing, where it's oh, I have this commission, but it's an NSFW commission, so I'm going to spend all this time on all this artwork, but I'm not going to be able to post it because I don't post NSFW stuff on my Instagram. And it's and it's, or I started posting sketches and the videos and stuff so I can get 2 or 3 posts out of a single piece just to keep people coming back. But I understand, because nowadays the bar has been lowered so much on content, and so many people just consume it up because it's available. You have those vloggers that just sit in front of their computer, record a 10-minute vlog, and no editing, they just post it. And that's their content. They do it every single day, but they're just churning out. It's not great content. And then you have other people that spend, animators that spend months on a 3-minute video that's never going to get ads from YouTube or anything, and they'll make $5 off of it, and they're just so happy with it. It's oh, look how good this is. They're not even happy with it. They're the next day after they post it, this is awful. I should take it down.
I mean, because we live in a consumerism.
We live in a society.
Yeah, this is something I hear from
live in
creators, is that they feel like they can't take a break. If they stop posting, they feel like people are going to forget about them.
I mean, they will.
Yeah, well said.
The world's moving fast, and it's not waiting for them. And it's just going to keep getting worse because we're so used to getting things when we want it. And all these things are just going to
Amazon has next day delivery now, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. Because, I mean, as far as nerd things, Marvel, Star Wars, I mean, we've gotten so much stuff in the last year or so, and we're going to keep getting stuff. And so, that's awesome. But it's a lot of pressure for people that are making it.
Yeah, it is a lot of pressure, and it's hard not to correlate your worth as an artist with how many likes your post get. I always get so frustrated when I post just a filler post. I like to call them filler posts, where it's just a casual makeup look. Recently I did a corset piece with a very soft old Hollywood makeup style. And that got 400 likes, but my shock tea post that I spent months on to create gets 100. And mind you, everything is good. All interaction is good, and I earned none of it. I deserve none of it. All of it is, of course, a gift that people are willing to interact with me. But it's so frustrating to see that a low-effort piece that I just like put out to gap some cosplay gets more engagement than something that I spent months and months working on.
Yeah.
So, I think we've covered a wide range of good topics today. I think we've really tapped into the nexus of not only content creation but also cosplay. Peony, you're a very talented individual. You do drugs, Peony. You do any drugs? Alex wants to talk about weed, acid, and ecstasy.
No, weeds. Everybody does weed.
It's legal in Canada, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Sure,
Sorry, y'all cut out there. What?
Okay. We want to talk about drugs, Peony. Alex wants to talk about drugs. He wrote down on the page with all the questions, he wrote down acid and ecstasy.
I don't know why.
Yes.
I was gonna try to wait for it to come naturally, but it doesn't.
When was that gonna come?
Yeah, it always comes up naturally.
I don't
Hey,
know.
you do drugs?
Do any drugs?
Hey, kids, do you do drugs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't do drugs? I mostly stick to cannabis and mushrooms.
It's legal in Canada, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
legal.
it's
I would
legal.
say if it's not
It's
legal,
legal,
don't tell us.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, it's very legal here. There's like a gorgeous dispensary around the corner from my apartment.
I'm moving to Canada, guys.
That does sound nice. I'm an ass.
Oh yeah, they all have great names. So they're named things like, like Purple Lizard Wizard or like Cherry Bang Sunset, and I'm like, I'll take 4 of the grinky stinky animal, please, and they're like, yeah, that'll be $20.
Man, I would hate ordering that kind of stuff.
No, it's safe and you're getting the good stuff. You don't have to worry about.
I know, but why would the guy name it like such?
Yeah, you don't have to worry.
Like, why can't I just say I'll take some? I don't know anything about drugs. Like, I'll take 4 buds of that.
I don't know why Michael's trying to talk about this. He's never done drugs in his life, but
He's never done drugs in his life.
We've tried, but it's.
They want me to try acid and draw whatever I see while I'm on acid.
I think you draw some cool stuff.
I think I draw some terrifying stuff.
Not, yeah,
Very
it'd be
cool,
beautiful.
though.
I think my inner demons would come out and I'd just be crying in the bathroom or something.
Well, yeah. I guess I didn't think about how we probably can't really bring this up on actually post it to YouTube.
Listen, YouTube has so many stupid rules now. I don't even care anymore. So we're just going to talk about whatever, and if YouTube gets upset, then we'll just do whatever. I'll just repost it later.
I guess.
How do you guys feel about the censorship going on? Because there is a high amount of censorship happening. How are y'all
They can't
as
even
creators
say
handling that?
words you can't even say anymore, even if it's just descriptive or describing an event. So, if I'm describing a crime or something that happened, I can't say the shooter committed suicide. You can't say suicide, even if it's in a descriptive form.
No.
You're just relaying an event that happened.
No.
What?
Yeah, if you say suicide or murder or I think shooting or something. I think shooting's okay, but you can't say any negative things. There are I've brought this up many times on the podcast, but since I get another chance to rant about it, there are literally map podcasts on YouTube and zoophile podcasts on YouTube, and YouTube's like, that's fine. But as soon as a big creator says and then he committed suicide jumping off the bridge, nah, that video can't happen anymore.
That's so weird. And you know what's also weird is the censorship going on, because TikTok's bad. We all know that TikTok's garbage for that kind of thing. But even on not safe for work platforms like OnlyFans, there's a lot of kink stuff that it's not allowed. You just can't do it because they think it's too kinky, which is weird because a lot of it isn't that strange.
Yeah,
but it's not allowed.
So you can't do any kind of bondage stuff or anything on OnlyFans. That's not okay.
Yeah, you could do rope bondage and you could maybe do a gag, but far be it to have any kind of BDSM scene with another person. Very not allowed.
That's so weird. I just
right. Even if it's everything is prop safe, everyone's consented, all that stuff, because BDSM takes a lot of fun, of course, and it takes a lot of safety checking before you can do anything. even if all of those requirements are met, it's just like not allowed. And if you're outside doing spicy things, even if it's private property, it's immediately taken down.
Really?
Yep.
The
So allowed,
BDSM
which is
stuff.
so strange.
Yeah, you sometimes you try BDSM, and you decide a safe word, and you're in the middle of it. You tell her the safe word, and she just pretends she can't hear you. You just gotta grit your teeth and bear it.
I guess my question to wrap it around back to drugs was, with OnlyFans and stuff, putting that content out there, I can assume it could get mentally and physically exhausting at times and maybe a little boring. So I was just kind of wondering, like, to spice it up, if you ever just do something crazy and pop some ecstasy or acid and just.
She literally just said all she does is cannabis and mushrooms.
Oh, I thought she said that's what she usually does.
I love that you're like, does this woman also do drugs for porn reasons?
You can
You know what,
your
sometimes-
boobs, I draw the line at drugs. God doesn't want that.
Yeah, like I can't believe that I have to, I don't know, do sex work. I'm gonna do some drugs. It is nice to be able to drink on the job, but there is a point because I'm the camera woman and the lighting tech and the costume person and the star and the audio person. So unfortunately, I have to be like really sober for everything because there's a lot that goes into literally anything that's being posted.
Yeah, that makes sense. For some reason, I thought like you did stuff with other people. I've never gotten on OnlyFans, so I don't really know like all the ins and outs.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's totally fair enough. And every now and again, I'll have like a guest or a co-star, but it's still my platform, so it means it's my job to make sure we have all the paperwork in order, make sure that I have signed consent for this person, make sure that I have any online tagging requirements that OnlyFans needs, and then I also need to make sure that I am providing like a safe, consensual environment for them, and also handling all the lighting and audio. And costuming, so it can get a little bit of a lot to have other people around. Even if we're like really close friends and I'm really comfortable acting with them in that space, I still have to like make sure that I'm meeting all those requirements as like a legal creator.
Yeah, I had no clue that there was all those requirements. I thought you just kind of did what you wanted to do, but
everything has paperwork.
Wow.
It's so interesting because in the world of modern content creation, it is kind of becoming, everyone's learning to wear multiple hats. I was listening to a podcast where it was talking about someone that transitioned from internet content creation to like working in Hollywood, and they talked about how they were the people in Hollywood were telling them how to do everything. And they were just like, why don't I, you need to hire someone to check the trap of the camera. You need to hire an associate director to do this. And the guy's like, why don't I just do all that stuff myself and just not hire five people to do one job a day? And because the guy came from like the online, so he did all that stuff himself all the time, so he knows how to do it. But in Hollywood, it's like there's a different guy there's a guy that takes the lens cap off. There's a guy that like runs and gets the coffee, and you transition from being an online creator to
that being your one job.
Yeah, to take the lens cap off. You got to get shot by Alec Baldwin at some point. I mean, it's all just there's.
Yeah.
By the way, I think he's gotten off scot-free, but I think there was some.
It was an accident.
I mean, it was an accident, but also wasn't an accident because the whole set was like a death trap. And it wasn't even the first time they fired a live gun on set accidentally. So, but enough about that.
Oh my God.
So Alec Baldwin killed a person, and I think everyone just
I remember that. Y'all remember when like Bruce Lee's son Brandon Lee got shot on the set of The Crow?
Yeah.
And everybody just got away with it too. Like nobody was like, "Hey, maybe do we think that was murder?" Everyone was like, "Oh no."
When is I know Hollywood loves making movies about Hollywood, but when are they going to make the movie about like all the people that just die and nothing happens in their movies? Like when's the movie where like the young redhead girl moves to Hollywood? She's like, I'm going to be a big star, and all of a sudden she gets on set and just gets shot or something, and it's like, oh well, hire someone else. Or do we have like enough footage to finish the movie?
Yeah. yeah, do we have enough footage to make the rest of this movie? Like, literally, that is the first thing on their mind, which is horrifying. Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. You're right, though. Wearing multiple hats is a really interesting thing. I get, like, weirdly insulted and defensive whenever people ask me, like, where my camera person is, or, like, who does my lighting, or, like, if, like, who made the thing. I'm like, it's me. It's just me. It would be nice to have help, but I'm just like a little poor student.
I'll work for 10
struggling along,
Alex will work. What if she needs you for a scene, Alex?
No, I don't know.
Suit up,
I don't know if I'm that far, but if you pay me a couple dollars, pay me $5.
He'll hold a flashlight and a camera.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to hold the flashlight and the camera.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah.
And if you could, like, hit play on the playlist behind you when it opens, that would be great, too.
Yeah, I don't even need money if,
Whoa.
buy a drink.
Oh, okay.
Call it good.
Literally, I pay all of everybody in alcohol, and I'll always cook for them. I feel like that's just the art of the
Good
stage.
job now.
Yeah. Alex.
Yeah, you, like, hang out with somebody you already like,
Are you
then you hang out and, like, drink.
Are you is this your official application to be Peony's, like, production assistant, Alex?
Yeah, I guess I'm moving to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, like, send me, like, a screenshot of 3-hole paper with your name on it, and I'll be like, that's how it works.
I was about to say, you have to send a reel of your previous work. You don't even do work on the podcast.
I could figure it out.
I believe in
I think you can figure it out. I think you can hold a camera.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
You get up, run your DMs, just respond how I respond. Alex sends pictures of his feet to people.
You're like fronting as me in my DMs and sending people pictures of your toes. I'm like, girl, for free?
No.
There you go, Alex. You got a whole job lined up. Look at you. This is the start of your career.
Yeah, you could be me. You could be like a full-time Peony impersonator. I would love that.
Okay. Get you some nice breast implants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have extra wigs.
I'm sure.
Don't even worry. They won't be able to tell us apart.
I do want to go to Canada at some point. That is on my list, but mainly for the mountains and possibly trying to snowboard and just the beautiful scenery.
America has mountains and snow.
Yeah, but there's just like some really.
There's something really good about smoking weed in the mountains. There's something real nice about that. I won't lie.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
So Canada's definitely on my list. How far are you from like Vancouver?
Yeah, send us your your address right now.
I mean, like, are you close to like?
Drop the address right now. I'm actually dropping the pin. I'm right now, today, I am in Calgary. And that's like maybe 3 hours away from Jasper and 3 hours away from like Fernie, which is British Columbia. Vancouver's a bit of a drive because that's the coast. That would be like several hours. But yeah, I have family up there. I'm usually at least every second year I go down to Vancouver and say hi to people.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Alex, you sound so excited.
Weirdly large, but everybody's just used to driving for like 4 hours to get anywhere. That's just like how it is here.
I just know that if I go, I'll message you because you probably have like some cool local spots that other people most likely don't know about.
She just said she lives in Calgary, not Vancouver.
Well, no, I know, but like where she's at.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Vancouver pretty well. I would avoid Gastown at night. That's my only advice right off the bat.
Okay.
The recipe for murder.
Is it really that bad?
Yeah, it's really that bad.
I did not know that.
I love
One time I was in Vancouver and my sister was living in Gastown because that's where all the students live, if you can't afford anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And we climbed up a fire escape on an apartment to get out of the way of a knife fight that was happening. Like, it is that bad.
Wow. Okay.
It was not good.
Well, Vancouver might have to sit in the backseat.
Calgary's safe. We can go to Calgary. There's snow there.
Yeah.
I just need
snow there. I think you could survive Vancouver. Just don't go to Gastown. Like, the whole city's not like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like Detroit. Just don't go to Detroit and you're fine.
I've been to Detroit.
Yeah, literally. And that's how I hear people talk about Florida, too. They're like, if you want to stay alive, just don't go to Florida. And I'm like, I will not, I guess.
Ohio's pretty safe. We don't have any major disasters or anything.
The West Side.
Oh yeah, stay off the West Side. Also, Columbus is getting up there in terms of like murder capitals in the U.S.
I don't know.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we're getting.
I wonder
up there.
if they have like a conference every year where they're like, and the new murder capital is.
Oh,
And,
someday it's gonna be us. Number one, baby.
Yeah.
I'm working on getting.
And the mayor is there.
I literally walked.
Yeah.
I was picking up lunch one day at work, and I literally walked outside of this chicken place, and there was just like some dude passed out on the sidewalk next to his container of chicken, and I just walked away.
He's living.
Wow, that man is really living.
He was.
He's free, yeah.
He ate his fried chicken and immediately like passed out on the sidewalk. He was this. I don't want to.
Oh my god.
He was this really fat dude, and like his shirt was covered in like grease, and it was one of those situations
Oh my
where
God.
he was, like, halfway up his belly, and his belly was just kind of hanging out. I was
Oh,
like,
no.
should I say something? But it's like one of those situations where if I go and try to wake him up, he's gonna like pull out like a dirty syringe and try to inject me or something.
He was living his best life.
Like stab you in the leg.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, cool. Now I got hepatitis. That's great.
Oh my god. Maybe he was like a local cryptid. Maybe you saw the chicken equivalent of Bigfoot.
Oh, if only.
If only.
If only. Someday.
They're like, oh, that's Greasy Dan. You know, like
We had a guy like that around
arrow.
here. We had a dude that was a disco dude, and you just kind of see him walking down sidewalks with like his big boombox on his shoulders, and he was wearing like one of those disco outfits.
I love that.
People said that he was a dude that just got like burnt out on drugs, and it messed his mind up so badly. That's just how he lives now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have acid flashbacks someday.
Yeah. Maybe he's like, it's like a social protest. Maybe he's living his best disco life.
He was like, the best time was the 70s.
For serial killers.
Yeah. If only I could be a serial killer in the 70s. They got all the girls.
If only.
Oh my god.
They
Yeah,
got
and
all
also
the
you would
girls.
never get caught. But in the most literal sense, yes, honey. It really did.
That's all.
Alrighty. That about wraps it up for another exciting episode of 3 Guys, 5 Feet Apart.
It's really 3 guys this time.
It is really 3 guys. We'd like to thank our special, wonderful, amazing, beautiful guest, who I am her number one simp, Peony Felicity. Go check out her Instagram.
Aww.
Go check out her OnlyFans. Because of YouTube's stupid censorship, I cannot link the OnlyFans in the description, but I will link her Instagram. You can use that to go to her OnlyFans.
Aw, thank you. I'm blushing. You can't see it. It's a visual medium, but I've like melted into a small puddle on the floor.
Aww, that's the effect I have on the ladies. Alex, take notes. I'm a Chad. All right.
Yeah, this guy is like a real lady killer. Speaking of serial killers, so thank you so much for having me on here. Y'all are great and insightful, and I appreciate your intelligent and well thought out questions. I can really tell that you care a lot about other artists and quality art, and if people who are listening to this podcast aren't already stalking all of them on social media and supporting them, you should be.
Aww.
So thank you again for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for letting us leech off your fame.
Yeah, I'm going to do a bunch of promo posts.
Alrighty, well, that's gonna wrap it up. Bye.
Bye.